Hey YouTube, I wanted to try doing a little bit of testing with the Troodon to basically see how viable Troodon is. Let's just break down the basic stats. It's not, spoilers, it's not really that great at all. Simply the reason is because your tier 3 pounce damage does 42 damage, raw damage, just about. And your bite damage is doing about, no, sorry, not 42, 72 for the pounce, and it's doing about 45 for the bite, I'm fairly sure. It's a 3 times multiplier for the bite, so 2 times multiplier for the pounce. Pretty cool stuff, yes. This also means that in order for you to do damage, you have to keep spamming out pounces, you're going to waste more and more stam. So obviously in a group of Troodons, you can of course kill bigger things, of course. However, it's not exactly the most viable strat, because one, Troodon suffers from tunnel vision. You only really have enough stamina in your group to properly envenomate one dinosaur and keep it envenomated for the whole duration you'll need to kill it. So yeah, for example, for a Carno, it takes around 24 pounces to kill a Carno. Put that into consideration. So there are 10 of you. Each one needs to do 2 pounces, effectively. This is counting the 3 pounces it will take to envenomate it. So yes. Then you reach Stego. It takes 83 tier 3 pounces to kill a Stegosaurus. Full health, full adult Stego is 83 pounces, which means total you're looking at maybe like 108 pounces total, assuming that the Stego never heals and assuming you all have the stamina to do it. So yeah, it's not exactly a fight. But then again, should Troodons be killing Stegos? That is a question for you guys to answer, whether or not Troodon should be allowed to kill everything from its mechanic. It just takes time, or whether or not... Basically, the idea is this. Lots of dinosaurs, the Raptor's very good at doing it, the Cerado's very good at doing it, the Carno's decent at doing it, and the Stego is excellent at doing it. Is that you know that the Troodon wants to latch on for the lowest amount of time as possible, which is 1 second. This is because the Troodon's damage is instantaneous. It's not a tick or anything, it's just instantaneous damage. This means that you as a Stego player knows that the Troodon's going to dismount at about 1 second. Now, this leads to the fun stuff. If you swing just before 1 second, you will clip that Troodon in the air. And if you don't do that, the Troodon is going to stay on for a tiny bit longer. If you know what you can do is you can do a buck cancel, which is still in the game, and I can confirm the buck cancels will be removed eventually. This issue has finally been addressed, and we will one day see a world without buck cancels. If you don't know what a buck cancel is, if you start bucking by holding E, and you do any attack while holding E, the attack animation will override the bucking animation, and you will still be bucking in the background, despite the fact you're no longer bucking. Fantastic. Which means you can drain Raptor's stamina in like 3 seconds while swinging the entire time as Stego. If you do side swings as Stego, you can do one of these each second, which means that the Raptor's going to need to have very, very good timing to not be clipped by the end of the tail swing and the beginning of the next tail swing. Fantastic stuff. Now, if you decide to hold on for longer versus the Stego, you then get hit by the buck, which means your stamina is going to decrease way faster. With 83 pounces to kill a Stego, this means that the Stego has, assuming you have 10 Troodons, each Troodon needs to get at least 3 pounces at tier 3. Let's just consider tier 3 by itself. That means that the Stego has 8 chances per Troodon to kill it. It's going to get those chances eventually. And this is just one Stego. If it has any herd mates or anything, you are dead. That's it. Let's go over some more things. Raptors. With Raptors and Cerados, you can do a very, very neat little trick because you are very, very agile, which is as you get latched on, you can start the buck, but you can also then move around a lot with your camera to make your body wiggle and jiggle, which means that when the Troodon dismounts, you can actually wiggle perfectly into the direction that the Troodon is dismounting and instantly run forward. And then you can actually bite it pretty much the second after it lands. So when it lands and it starts running, it has that tiny bit of acceleration. You will be on them at max speed and then bang, chomp, dead. Fantastic stuff. Troodon, not really good at killing Raptors or Cerados. Except, of course, Raptors is much easier because it's 8 pounces to kill it. So there's always that little thing there. But of course, Raptors are then in groups, and Raptors are very agile, so it could... You see my point. It's very, very difficult for Troodon to do much. You then have Carno, which can do pretty much a similar thing and can actually alt-bite you out of the air while you're dismounting. If it angles itself properly, it's because the Carno is very, very long, if that makes sense. It's a very long dinosaur. So if you latch on at the legs, if you imagine the Carno like a seesaw, it's very, very long on either side. which means it can flick its body and be a little like wriggly worm and then get you killed. So Troodon is not very good. Furthermore, it gets worse. Say, for example, that the Troodon that the devs know and the QA testers know was a Troodon that had tick damage. It did this tick damage over time. This was either removed or is going to be re-implemented, and this could have disastrous effects. Let's say, for example, the 42 damage the Troodon does per pounce is actually the maximum amount of damage you can do by holding on. And how long can you hold on for? Well, without bucking, it's 21 seconds. This could imply that actually the 42 damage that we're seeing right now is the maximum amount of damage that you can get, and the game is bugged and does it instantaneously. Or B, the devs and QA testers. But here's the reason. The QA testers were confused as to why Troodon wasn't working by tick damage. I mean, hell, Koga, if you know their YouTube channel, they were claiming for ages that Troodon was doing tick damage when it wasn't. So they clearly thought it was tick damage. So therefore, you know, we can't make the observation that, well, the devs decided and heard from the feedback, unless of course the devs did and just didn't tell anyone about it, which is probably maybe what happened. So there's always that. They probably realized that this is such a ridiculous requirement for Troodon that they decided to fall back on it and just say it does the damage instantly, and there you go. However, if the devs decide to make it something where it does do the tick damage, will the tick start from 42, or will it end at 42? Sorry, at 72, or will it end at 72? So yeah, Troodon could be in a very, very weird place, depending on how they change it, or they keep it the same. But let's not be too doomer about the Troodon. When more smaller tier dinosaurs come out, the Troodon is going to get exponentially better. When Herrera comes out, when Ava comes out, when Ovi comes out, etc., etc. When all these dinosaurs come out, it will be very, very easy for the Troodon to kill them. Fantastic. Currently, we do have a few small tier dinosaurs. We have dinosaurs like the Bepi, and the Bepi is a very, very interesting thing, as it's actually a very, very fair fight. With one Troodon versus one Bepi, it's a very fair fight. We've already tested this out, in which if the Bepi is patient and it keeps moving around to try and be tricky to get the pounce on, and it makes sure to does its claw as the Troodon latches on, it's about 3 claw swipes to the head to kill. It's also 3 pounces to kill the Bepi. Haha, you now see a weird area of balance here. Yes, so there's always that. But no, I do not believe that Troodon is the underrated apex killer that a lot of people seem to think. It's not. I'm fairly sure it's fairly trashed here, unfortunately. So yeah, those are my opinions. Tell me if you disagree, and yeah, we can all get back to this and have a conversation in the comments. Furthermore, we have surpassed the 400 subscriber mark, and we are coming towards 500 subscribers. So if you guys feel the need to subscribe, please do, and yeah, we can try and make our way to 500. It's been a pleasure making videos for you guys, and well, peace out for now. Story time's over. Fuck off. Go do something good with your lives.